So today we're going to have an interesting session. We have a guest. This guest is a young person, but is an entrepreneur, inventor of a toy or game. You'd call it, it's probably called toy better. I met this gentleman at the New York Toy Fair. As you know, if you have watched our show for some years, every year the New York Toy Fair is held at the Javits Center in February, sort of a bitter winter. And I've been there almost at least 5 years now, counting. And sometimes you get stuck with a snowstorm. And this year again, we have a pretty big storm before the show, so the walkways and city is full of white stuff, and now of course getting black, as you know, when cars running over. So that's Toy Fair, and the Toy Fair in New York always attract me personally because I, as a game inventor myself, I always like to meet people with their new toys, new games, and I talk to them. Sometimes we can play at the Toy Fair. I invite them to our show and introduce their products to our audience and our kids that come here to play Scramble games. So with that intro, I would like to introduce our guests, okay? And stay tuned. Okay. Matthew, it's correct pronunciation?
Yes, Matthias.
Matthias, not Matthew. Matthias, and this is Candice.
Yep.
And they have a company named Castakai,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Castakai, and you have samples here. Before we get into that, let's talk a little bit. You are the first time at the Toy Fair, right?
Yes, first time.
And what's your impression of the Toy Fair?
I didn't realize how big it is.
Yeah.
And we got there, and it was amazing. It was
Amazing,
a
right?
great time, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And this year, actually, it's probably not as big as a few years back. Yeah. And they have 8,000 vendors there,
Yeah.
okay? 2 floors are completely full. And of course, the big players like the, what is the games?
The Hasbros.
Yeah, those guys. They have their private suite and private buildings. You don't even see them.
No.
So this is one of the world's largest, toy fair. And just being a exhibitor there, I think it's life experience.
Oh, yeah, for
Right?
sure. Oh, yeah, for sure.
You agree,
It
right?
opens your eyes up to the
And I participate. I never been an exhibitor myself, but I've been there as press, as buyer, as a guest,
Yeah.
whatever category.
Yeah.
But I think it's very enjoyable for people have a real good game or toy. It's really a good launching pad. Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what do you think your Castakai sort of received from the exhibits there.
Yeah. So I didn't know what to receive because it was our first show, and we just received our product in November. So going into the show, we didn't know how people would. I didn't have anything to base it off of. It was my first time there.
Yeah.
We went there and we set up, and got to see everyone else set up. And so it was, the anticipation was building, and the first day came, and it was a bunch of smaller shops and smaller stores, and they found that we created a new way to fly a kite that was safer and easier. And so the first day was awesome.
Were you able to demonstrate over there?
No, I just had some early footage on a TV that I had with me. So to show them how it works, I was going to take a huge fan and put it in there. And, so I just put the footage on the television, and people were able to see how it works. And
I see. So they can watch the TV.
Yeah. I took a few people outside on the first 2 days just to show them, that it really works and that you
Yeah.
can push the button, it goes out, and then reel it in.
Right.
You know, you don't have to hold on to the line and stuff.
Right.
And,
Okay, but hold on, because we're keeping the audience sort of in the dark. Let's explain your invention a little bit first, okay? Then we'll get back to that
Yeah, yeah.
discussion. So, cast kite obviously relates to the kite. You want to fly the kite. You have made a device to help that process.
Exactly.
And the major part of it is have a little better control, ease of control of the kite, and particularly when you try to retrieve the kite back, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Is that the whole idea?
Yeah,
right?
that's pretty much the whole idea. Easier to let out, easier to reel in, and easier to control.
Right, and particularly if you're running, around say along the beach or open space, I think this is certainly a very, very useful tool, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's much more fun too.
Right. Okay. Now we're going to get back a little bit and talk about how you get into this. You both actually are recent graduates, right?
Yep.
And from this college called St. Rosen.
St. Rose in Albany, yes.
St. Rosen, Albany. Okay. What's your major and what's your major?
I'm business.
And I graduated with communications.
Oh, communications. So excellent. So now you are the communication person for the company,
Exactly.
right? PR person. Very good. You're in business, so your first thing is entrepreneur. Did you have a job now, or
Before this?
yeah?
Before this, I built a few websites and stuff to pay the bills, and I'm also.
So you're really gonna be entrepreneur as a starting
Yeah. Oh yeah.
job.
Yes.
Oh, that's good. That's very admirable, and that's very American.
Yes.
Yeah, it's nowadays people, have difficulty finding jobs anyway. So if you can start with business, it's very good.
Yes.
So far, at the toy fair, you think it's a good deal for you?
Yes. I didn't know what to expect. So, for the first day when I got there,
Yeah.
it was a great response. And as you said, sometimes it could be good.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it could be bad. It depends on how you're perceived and received by the.
Yeah,
by the-
it really depends on the product and depends on how the interaction, sort of go.
Exactly.
And there are a lot of products tend to be similar. That's the problem with, for example, card games, board games,
Yeah.
things like that,
Yeah.
or trivia type of games. Those things are many similar games. So when you introduce one, it's really sort of iffy, right?
Yeah.
If you're lucky, maybe some people like it. If you're not, people don't like it.
Exactly.
I mean, the whole idea at the toy fair is to get orders,
Exactly.
pre-production orders. In
Yes.
fact, I don't know whether you are already in production. Looks like, right?
Yes, we are.
Yeah. So you are ready to roll for this Christmas,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
And so, how many people ordered for Christmas at this time from you?
We've had. Let's see. We had probably. I'd say. I don't even know the total number. I know that are in after the toy fair. We're in 11 countries and just about 30 states.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is impressive.
Yeah,
impressive.
so-
I mean, you are first time in. I'm not a businessman nor trying to be a businessman, but I interacted with the toy fair and so on. I talked to so many business people there, so I pretty much know how the toy industry works and why Christmas is your life and death
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, people make 70% of their business in that month, December. Okay, and a Christmas sort of couple of weeks is like a 40-50% of their business.
yeah.
So you're really holding your sort of a whole profit depending on that particular
Exactly.
season. And so if you already have that kind of reach, then the question is for PR, okay, to follow up and try to sort of get this thing, propagating, right?
Right.
So what's your plan to help?
Well, I have a group of people. He also has a team behind him who's helping me. But
Nice.
After the toy show, we basically just followed up with anyone who came over and introduced themselves to us. and even just looking at Facebook, the numbers have skyrocketed ever since.
So you have a
first show.
Facebook.
Yes.
Yes.
Did we show your Facebook on the scene?
I'm not sure.
It's
just-
on your name card?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, we can ask, if Tom, if you see the Facebook, you could put that website Facebook on the caption. We'll flash on.
Yeah.
Okay, so people would know your Facebook.
Nice. Nice.
All right, so on the Facebook, what did you tell people?
On the Facebook, we just pretty much told people, that we have an American-made product because I make these right in New Jersey. And we received a large response from people that believe in buying American goods. And that was another thing going into the toy fair. We didn't know if people would like it a lot. And from the response, we were one of the rare toys there that was American-made. So it actually was one of the best things, possibly decisions that we made along the way.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
that
That's
was
good.
awesome. Yeah.
That's very good. And so you graduated last year, right?
Yes.
So how long took you to really go from beginning having a concept to the
To
production?
this, it took about 4 years, and it started back in when I was a
Freshman or high school?
a sophomore in college
Uh-huh.
on the beach. I just had the idea that why don't they have something that that's safer and that you can just reel it back in and let it out. So I tried it on my fishing rod, and it was awesome. I could let it out, reel it in. So I said, someone has to have this. Someone had to make, where they sell it with a kite and something smaller than a fishing rod so you can travel with it. And it just wasn't out there. So, I thought that, hey, this could be something that, we should do. So I made a bunch of prototypes for fun.
I see. How do you do prototype? What
Prototypes?
made of wood or just?
First one was made of wood, and I used a clothesline little reel as the reel and a fishing handle and
Yeah.
a little fishing rod that I cut in half, and so that worked. And then I made it the next year. I came back with another one, and then I finally got a good one, sort of like this, a little different. And I was like, all right, this is cool. And then a 3D printed one that my buddy helped me out with. He made, they could do 3D printing now.
Yes.
And each stage you just take out a kink and make it better and easier to use. And
This is great.
yeah, so it was
Well,
fun.
lot of times people, sort of do the invention and creation in the college environment because that 4 years, sometimes you have no other distraction. If you really put your mind onto something, and also university is an environment that has lots of sort of support, like your friend
Exactly.
doing the 3D printing or engineer to help you in terms of designing, grafting, and so on.
For
so on,
sure. For
right?
sure. Yes, for sure.
That is the environment that why people go to college, and I think that's
Right.
the reason. You will be meeting with different people. Like you're in communication, and if you talk to each other and say, oh, this can form a team and
Yeah.
help each other,
Yeah,
right?
that's what it's all about. Yeah.
So it took you 4 years to get to the production. I think this is very smooth, actually. Okay, I mean a lot of invention and games stuff and so on sometimes take a long time. Just a little diversion from this talk. One of my games called Scramble, which is our show name.
Yeah.
Okay. I had this idea when I was in Singapore on an international assignment. I was setting up a research institute for Singapore. It's there, the government invited me. Singapore is a nice city, pretty and so on, but it's very small. And my assignment's a few years. Pretty soon you exhausted every interesting place you're going to visit in that city. Okay, so generally spend time on the beach, and really nothing else to do, because every other thing, zoo, library, museum, theaters, and so on, you exhaust them all, right? So on the beach, I came up with this this scramble game because you don't need a board, you don't need to worry about paper cards and so on. It's just those chips, and make word game and challenge, and make people actually gather around to play. The simple game is you flip the letters and you spell out words, you keep them, and other people can add letters, scramble it, take it away from you, and competing back and forth. As many people want to play. I mean, people gather around, 2 people, 3 people, 4 people. So this goes endless.
Yeah.
And that's how that game started. And of course, when I finished my assignment, I came home, and that's it. Forget about it, right? Until the 2000. That was 1984.
Wow.
84. And the year 2000, or actually 1999, I started my entrepreneuring. I retired from a first job. A second job with me. I forgot about it already. And I started a company. I went to Silicon Valley, and I got a couple of $1 million. I hired some students. We started doing internet telephony and search engines and e-commerce. I was too greedy. I have 4 or 5 ideas. I also do online teaching platform called iCare. All of that in one company with dozen people. It's just too greedy. But I got money, so I said, what the heck, let's do it. But 2000, the dot-com crash came down. My money source went sour because these guys got a lot of money, but still when dot-com hit, their investment got hit. So they asked me to move to Silicon Valley. I said, oh, I can't do that. I have roots here, I have family and so on. And I got all these people are all New York. So I eventually decided, okay, cut, right? So become independent. You know how long I can support that. I mean, on my own. So the dot-com basically killed my company, even though my website, my company still exists, name still exists, so on. But essentially, at 2000, I had to let people go. Fortunately, I hired very smart people, and I helped them, and they all went to Wall Street and other places. They are actually much better off than I am as far as holding a company. They're okay. But since I'm holding all these websites and I have all these server engines in my basement, one time I had about 10 computers in my basement. One person. You are the maintenance person. You are the website master. You are doing everything.
Exactly.
It's tough. So then I thought this kind of business I just cannot handle. So I decided to make a game. So I made this scramble game, manufactured, it's just printed the cards, so very simple, and I put on the website. Actually, I did have people buying it. And that's when, this is about 2000, right? That's when I started visiting the toy fair.
I see.
And when I begin to talk to these people about giving them this game to sell, and I realized the deal of royalty is really sucks. You don't get much.
No.
Okay. I said, well, if you want to be entrepreneur, you have to be on your own. Forget about that. So I basically forget about entering this kind of business deals, and I stayed on my own. But then I also, I'm a person, I mean, I don't depend on this for living, but I also, my interest on search engine, other things still going on. And my search engine is called Medical World Search. And that has been, this is, in the 19s, was first reported by Wall Street Journal as the best search engine that time. Because of those things, your ego gets blown up, and you're not willing to give up. So I I hold all these things in my hand. Eventually, nothing came out as like Amazon or as Google, or as you know, the internet telephony. My internet telephony is a concept that you own your own telephone company on a little computer. You carry it around. You go to Paris, you plug in your computer, you have your own telephone company. All the calls you make back to United States, or they call you, all free. Okay? So my patent on those things become my life. Since I took 10 years to get the scramble patent, but I also took many years to get other patents. So at this point, I am really, trying to interact with entrepreneurs to find people really to take over. My kids, for some reason, don't like to follow my footsteps. And this is very typical in family,
Yeah.
And I don't force them because my kids are very smart. They're all doing well, so fine, you don't have to. So right now I'm putting on my website these patents, so on. Anybody really interested, contact me. Maybe we'll have a deal. And I spotted you. I see this. I said, well, this is a typical entrepreneur product, okay? And I want you to be here because this is exactly the model I wanted young people to follow. Because you say you study business, okay? If you didn't do this, what would you think you would do?
Probably be working for someone else and
Where? What kind of job? Right?
yeah, there's not really.
It's hard to define, right?
Yeah, 'cause
Whether you are in business, whether in law, many of this, sometimes really hard to define. The success, comes actually with people that really focused, on something and persistent about it.
oh yeah.
I tell you my failure because I knew I failed in entrepreneuring because I just too greedy and not focused and it just wasted a lot of time. And also I started late. I started in the 60s or age-wise, and that's too late. Okay, you don't want to do that because you really want to put all your attention on one thing and fly with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pun intended.
Right. Yeah. So from this toy fair,
Yeah.
you have a footing now. Okay.
Exactly, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what's your ambition and how you're gonna grow this business.
Well, the Toy Fair was great. It let me meet everyone, all the buyers, the press, other companies and stuff. So to grow the business now would be to just keep connecting with more people in the business, and also we've had have a bunch of meetings set up with larger companies that want to push this on the international stage. So they want to partner with us because what I did was I filed the patents to fly a kite with a rod, reel, and a handle. And that's the valuable part of the business. That's what attracts people is that others now can't possibly do this. And and also our production has taken off. So we've already established distributors in New Zealand, Canada, South America, Europe, pretty much all over the world for distribution. So now that people see that it's viable and that it is working, and people do want to revolutionize a 3,000-year-old hobby, which is kite flying. It's awesome. People are trying to.
Very good. And the fact that you already have a patent and pending, it's a good start. But I think you probably should continue on that route. But you said you are dealing with patent attorney. They are expensive.
Yeah.
For my experience, I can share with you and help you a little bit. Is you could file patent, not in the formal sense. There is a filing. What's the terminology? I forgot now. It's basically by filing a preliminary.
Yes.
It only costs you maybe $800 or some few $100s. I forgot how much. Maybe even for small business, they have a discount, which is about half the price. So maybe $500. You can file a preliminary. That gives you 1 year window.
Yes.
Within that 1 year window, you can decide whether you want to formally follow formal.
Yeah, that's where we're at on our international right now. Internationals are expensive.
Right, right.
So
the
we-
PCT is very expensive because country.
Yes,
I mean, it depends
yes.
how many countries.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think you should do the preliminary in United States, and on several key areas. I mentioned a little bit, the extension part. We don't want to talk in open, so to give away, right?
Yeah.
But there's certain ways to extend your product for features, for more advantages, okay, and for probably various versions you want to do and so on. Those, because the preliminary really is inexpensive and it's very easy to do. I usually do it almost like formal. That is, the file I send in it is almost like a full patent application. But you don't have to do that. You can have 2-3 pages with a drawing and file it as preliminary to buy you that window 1 year.
Yeah.
And then when you go talk to business manufacturers and international and so on, you can start talking about, but you have that as your support.
Exactly.
Now, if you got somebody interested, willing to invest and so on, it accelerates your process, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's okay. We have enough the background. Let's talk about how you really make this work, and how maybe. We cannot really fly here in the studio, but try to demonstrate as much as you can.
Yes, so pretty
Yeah.
much it's just the rod, the reel, and the handle. And all you do is you just push down on this little trigger right here, and that disengages the reel. So you have it up in the air like this, your kite's flying around, and then all you do is just push this and let the wind pull your kite out. And then obviously you use the rod to change the angle on your kite. It's called the dihedral,
Right.
is the center of the
Right.
two planes. So you use that to change your angle even more with the
Definitely, from a control point of view, is much better than having a little
Exactly.
rod, right?
Yeah, and it's also a lot safer because when you use something like this,
The fish string,
One of these,
nylon, yeah,
the kids are holding on to the line,
yeah.
and it tends to cut the kids. And by using a cast kite, now you don't have to hold on to the line. You're holding on to the handle,
Right.
And so actually, when it's all the way out and you're flying and you're using your rod, a lot of fun. Then when all you're done, all you have to do is just reel it back in and put it back. And when we sell them, they come with a carrying case that has a Velcro top,
Right.
so that they can put it all back in here when they're done
Yeah.
and store it for safety, because there's a few parts of the kite, So that's another good thing for safety and storage. And we make these in America, which has helped us stick out at the Toy Fair because we were only, very few of the plastic products that were there were made in America.
Right.
So people were drawn to
Yeah,
our
that's
booth.
because all this molding, everything is a lot cheaper doing outside than doing in the United States.
Especially assembly, And for our first batch of them, we used the Wounded Warrior Project. So we used veterans to assemble them, and that was up in Poughkeepsie. And people also really liked that we were, passing it around and doing it right. Do it right, And you might lose a little bit of profit, but for us, we found that we actually sold more. So it all evened out in the end for us.
Well, that's cool. And this toy is sort of partly as a fun thing, but it's partly as a sports thing. So you may even think about along the sporting part, hold contest or things like that sort.
I'd love to down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also what's cool is that when we were making this, as we spoke earlier about all of the different prototypes, along the way you find little things that can go wrong. So one of the issues we found was that sand and dirt can get in the reel.
Right.
So we wanted to make it easy for the kids or the parents to just take this and you just squeeze the two center clips and it pops out the reel
Right.
for easy cleaning and stuff.
Right.
And then also we added this little feature
Mm-hmm.
where you just go like this, and it's fun. And then
Mm-hmm.
once you can lock it in like that.
Yeah.
Some kids like flying up here, down here.
Now this angle
Mm-hmm.
adjustable, right?
Yeah.
Why do you make it adjustable?
We do it just for like when you're flying higher wind speeds, but it doesn't do much. To be honest with you, but if you ask the kids that are playing with it,
Yeah.
the kids think it does a lot.
Yeah. Well, can you fold it down so that it become
Yeah,
half the?
Yeah, you can't fold it all the way, but if you take this all the way out, you can
Package it in the yeah.
exactly, and you
So-
can store it easier like that
Right. I was just thinking, yeah, maybe you can make it shorter.
for
package it.
vacation and stuff. Exactly, yeah.
That's very good. Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun to make.
So, do you have kids that sort of own this product and using it now?
Yeah, we sold. I was selling them out of my basement during December. So we sold. I sold a bunch of them using targeted Facebook ads right before Christmas, and we did well. And we were able to take those proceeds and help them pay for partial of the booth at the toy fair. And now that we paid for the toy fair booth, and now we have all these new sales.
Yeah.
It's sort of a.
Are you still selling it through your own website?
Yeah, we still sell it to the individual consumer. I actually put if you go on castakite.com, and when you check out, if you type in Wordman,
Yeah.
because of you,
Yeah.
you'll get free shipping.
Really? Wow.
So
I
I did-
appreciate that.
yeah.
Although the Wordman is not my real name.
No, I know, I know.
use the Wordman because
Yeah.
the word game that I started.
I did it for fun.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah. Actually, I can tell you a little joke. Maybe I have audience out there appreciate